Parents left me for their new families, now they want back in? No way, I'm done. I'm 22 years old and just found out that my entire family was planning a big trip. Guess how I found out? They told me because they needed someone to stay back and take care of the dog. Yep, you heard that right. They were all gearing up to have a blast, and I was just supposed to stay home like some kind of pet sitter. Now, I should mention that my brother and sister still live at our old house, and lately I've been kind of doing my own thing. I haven't been around much, but finding out I was left out of the family trip hit me like a ton of bricks, made me feel super lonely and sad, like there was this huge hole inside me. Even though I tried to act cool and like it didn't bother me, it really did. When they were all piling into the car to head to the airport, I just couldn't hold back the tears. My mom saw how upset I was, and they all started saying how much they loved me. The last time we all went on a trip together, I was about 13 years old. I was so upset that I started getting stomach cramps from crying so hard. I decided to send them a message to let them know how much it hurt to be left behind, hoping they'd understand. But the response I got made things worse. They told me I was ruining their vacation with my message and that I should just deal with it. They thought I wanted some time to myself. Looking back, I guess it wasn't the best timing to bring up how I was feeling right at the start of their holiday. I'm already feeling super left out because my family went on a vacation without me, right? And then they start sending me these pictures of them having the time of their lives. It's like all the sad and lonely feelings I've been trying to keep hidden just burst out. I've never felt so left behind before. Here I am, stuck at home looking after our dog while they're off somewhere having fun together. It feels like my heart's been ripped out. Now I've come up with a plan. I'm thinking of leaving the dog with one of our relatives so I can head back to college. My hope is that by throwing myself into my studies, I can try to forget about how hurt I am right now. But man, how do I even start to forgive them for making me feel this way? Has anyone else ever gone through something like this? It's not like I wanted a free trip or anything. Seriously, I would have totally been okay with paying for my own stuff. The real issue here is about them, my whole family, deciding to go on this awesome family vacation and not even asking me if I wanted to come along. They even took my 19-year-old brother, and get this, he didn't even want to go. He was all like, I'd rather stay home and play video games. But there they are, having a blast, the entire family together. They said they took my brother because they wanted it to be a family trip, which kind of stings because it's like they're saying I'm not part of the family or something. If it was just my sister going, I get it. Maybe it's a sibling thing. But since it was everyone, it feels really bad being the only one left out. Now for the top advice. Did they tell you about the vacation before asking if you can watch the dog, or after? Have you asked them why you weren't included in the vacation? They thought I had other stuff to do. They also said they really thought I would be so happy being all alone in the house with my significant other. I don't understand why they thought that because we lived together at college. When I found out about it, they had already booked the tickets and hotel, so I had no chance of even rearranging my summer plans. Not that I had anything planned for those dates anyway. We have a relative that wanted to care for the dog and could have all these dates. My plan right now is to leave the dog with a relative and go back to college and dive into school to forget. Good plan, and if other family are around, it makes it a real WCF that my family didn't do that in the first place. Sorry, buddy. My family did something similar when I was your age. I think it came from my mom's deep resentment about me being out of the house and independent. Let me ask, do your parents ever make nasty comments about how you're selfish for going off to college? Do they ever claim that you don't care about them and then you have to scramble to prove that you're not a bad kid for having an independent adult life? When I was a little younger than you, my grandmother, who I was very close to, fell ill and was hospitalized. They didn't tell me she was in the hospital and never apologized for keeping me out of the loop because it was my fault for leaving the family by going off to school. My parents had very skewed priorities, and my mom in particular tried to make me dependent on her and shamed me if I seemed too independent in her eyes. Hopefully, this doesn't ring a bell for you, but if it does, then they might have excluded you from the vacation as a way of manipulating you into feeling like you're an outsider to the family. If they can succeed in that, then they can make you feel like you need to grovel and beg to be included again. It's pretty cool how everyone shared their thoughts and gave me different ways to look at things. It's like a light bulb went off in my head, and I realized my feelings aren't just me overreacting. They're real and they matter. I've decided the best move is to sit down with my family and talk things out calmly. I want to let them know how left out I felt, but do it in a way that's peaceful, not starting a big drama. And you know what? Reading how many of you have been in the same boat, feeling left out and all, really tugged at my heartstrings. It's sad, but also kind of comforting to know I'm not alone in this. Big hugs to every single one of you who's gone through something similar. Being left out is the worst feeling ever, seriously. I've been doing some thinking, especially after seeing what a bunch of people said about how once you're an adult, you don't always get to go on family trips. This got me thinking that maybe this whole mix-up happened because of a bit of a misunderstanding. See, my mom might have thought that because I'm grown up, I've got my own stuff going on, maybe even my own little family, and that I wouldn't be all that bummed if they went on a trip without inviting me. But here's the thing. I want to shout out to everyone, especially to parents. Just because your kid heads off to college or starts doing their own thing doesn't mean they suddenly stop needing their family. Being away from home can be super tough. I know I really missed my family a ton. Getting invited to go on a family trip isn't just about the vacation. It's a big chance to hang out and spend some quality time together. It's super important to make sure nobody feels left out. Remember, just because someone starts their own family or life doesn't mean they're not part of the original one anymore. Let's make sure everyone feels included, okay? Everyone around me keeps saying my brother Danny is the superstar of the family. I'm talking about everyone. Our parents, all our relatives like cousins, aunts, and uncles, even the teachers at school. And to top it off, my own friends join in too. This whole Danny is better thing started when I was just 5 years old, and guess what? It hasn't stopped. The craziest part? My brother Danny has never once acted like he believed any of this stuff. He's never made me feel less than, which is why he's pretty awesome in my book. But here's the deal. Every time I look at Danny, I don't just see my brother. I see this giant reminder of everything I think I can't be. And the funny thing, it's not like he's out there winning Nobel Prizes or anything. He's still living at home with our folks, but for some reason, everyone acts like he's the golden child, which leaves me feeling like I'm, well, not. This whole situation has knocked my confidence down to zero. I feel like no matter what I do, I'm just going to end up failing, so most of the time I don't even try. Why bother, right? It's like there's this voice in my head that's constantly telling me I won't ever measure up. Imagine waking up every day to this invisible scoreboard where you're always a few points behind no matter what. That's pretty much my life. For 15 whole years, nearly every day, people around me have been making jokes or comments suggesting my brother is somehow better than me. They usually say it with a laugh, so every time they do, I try to show them I'm not okay with it. I don't laugh along, or maybe I'll give them a look that says, not cool. But the only two people who have never joined in on this are my cousin Sarah and my brother, which honestly means a lot to me. There was this one time when my dad actually said out loud that sometimes he feels like he loves Sarah more than he loves me or Danny. Can you imagine hearing that from your own dad? Sure, he tried to walk it back a bit by saying, not more, just close to it, after he saw how hurtful it was, but that doesn't really make it better, does it? All these comments, these jokes, they've been weighing on me, making me feel pretty low, and it feels like I'm carrying all this heaviness inside without anyone to really talk to about it. Just packing up and starting fresh somewhere else isn't an option for me right now. So I'm stuck feeling this way and not sure how to make it better. My mother, Angela, is especially horrible about this with me. I'm 32 now, and my older brother Danny has always been the golden child. She often comments to people that Abby is smart, sure, but she has to work hard. Danny is naturally brilliant, doesn't have to make an effort. This was last said at my son's birthday party to his friend's mother, who will never even know Danny, so just to take a stab at me. We were at a family gathering once, and a friend commented on how I had grown into a beautiful woman, and my mother's response was, "If you think she's pretty, wait till you see my son Danny is gorgeous." I relate to this post very much, and I know therapy is thrown around on this sub a lot, but I would be lying if I didn't say therapy helped me overcome so much pain from this type of parenting. I highly recommend it, and I am sending you a hug. I know how painful this can be. You should play the same card when describing parenting roles to other people in front of her. "Oh, you think she was a good parent? You should have met my dad. Now that's a role model." Are you no longer living with your parents? Ghost everybody, man. Go cold turkey. You can make it in life, you just need to work hard and go through the pain of growth. There will be times that you feel like you are hopeless and you want to give up. My advice is do not give up on yourself. Once you reach that point where everything seems to be crashing down, power through it, tough it out, and overcome those obstacles. You will be a much stronger person after going through those tough times. Mental strength is the best strength a person can have. It gives you stability, increases your awareness, and makes you think more rationally. Right now you are going through a very tough time mentally and emotionally. Power through it, my friend. Concentrate on your own growth and happiness. Read lots of books in your field of interest. Go for long walks or runs. Even better, go biking. Be alone with your thoughts. Meditate. Always psych yourself up. If you are interested, I can message you a link to a YouTube channel I watch that motivates me as a man. I don't know if I can do all these things. I'm in college, so I don't know how I'll survive without their help. Hey, everyone. First off, a huge thanks to all of you. The pep talk and encouragement were exactly what I needed to take control of my situation. I'm really sorry I couldn't get back to each of you personally. A bunch has been going on, so here's what happened. This morning, right before my dad and brother had to head off to their jobs, my dad, kind of out of the blue, goes, "Your brother's already landed a job. When are you planning on getting one?" Now keep in mind, I'm swamped with college work because I'm in the thick of studying pretty much all the time. When he dropped that comment, it really got under my skin. But here's the thing. Armed with the boost of confidence you all gave me, I actually stood up for myself. I told him straight up that I'm not okay with the way they've been treating me. And guess what he says? He tells me he was just joking and then drops this bomb that I'm still too young and he can't take me seriously. So here's what went down. I reached my limit and basically told my dad, "Forget this, I'm out," and started to pack my bags. He wasn't having any of it and tried to physically stop me, saying I wasn't allowed to leave. When things escalated and he started to get rough, I stood my ground, telling him he doesn't have the right to control my life like that. He even threatened that if I walked out, I'd be cutting ties with my family for good. In the heat of the moment, he looked like he was about to throw a punch at me, but my brother jumped in just in time, pulling him away and giving me a chance to breathe. They ended up having a major shouting match in another room while I quickly grabbed my things and left for a friend's place, not really knowing where else to go. My friend was a total lifesaver, skipping work just to make sure I wasn't alone in case things took a worse turn. He's told me I can crash with him for as long as I need to. All of this chaos unfolded in just a few hours, and it's left me feeling pretty shaken up. I'm even considering getting a restraining order because I'm not about to let myself be pushed around again. My phone's been blowing up with calls from my mom, but I just can't bring myself to answer after today. I feel like I'm just done with them. I'm really hoping things don't escalate further from here. So here's the latest update. I got in touch with my brother because there were some important papers I needed from him. We decided to meet up so he could hand them over. When we saw each other, we did chat for a bit. During our talk, he dropped a pretty big bombshell on me. He said that our parents don't want to see me again. Honestly, I was kind of okay with it, which might sound weird, but that's where I'm at. My brother also said that if I ever need anything, I should just give him a call, but between you and me, I don't really see that happening anytime soon. For now, I'm crashing with my buddy. The plan is to stay there till all this virus chaos blows over and I can find my own place. He's been super cool about it, saying he's got my back for a month or two until I start getting my paychecks. After that, I'll need to chip in, which is totally fair. Oh, and guess what? I managed to land a job. It's not exactly the dream gig, and the pay isn't amazing, but considering everything that's going on, I'm not in a position to be picky. Looks like this is it, the start of my adult life for real. At least you've got a supportive brother with you on this new journey. Work hard and be super successful to the point where your entire family regrets putting you down. That's the best revenge. Would love a final update in the near future. Living well is the best revenge. Good luck out there. Call your brother. He wants your success and will help raise you up. Stay in contact with your brother. He didn't do anything wrong. Screw your parents, though. You will regret it in the future if you abandon your brother, I promise you this. It's not the brother's fault that the parents have deemed him the golden child. Not only that, but he's actively helping me and seems to be completely supportive. Hold on to him. I cut and ran when I was 17 with nothing and a baby to escape the hell of my family. You're going to be all right, man. I've been seeing a bunch of people telling me that I should make sure to keep talking to my brother, right? Well, let me set the record straight. There's no way I'm ever going to just stop talking to my brother. He's my bro, and I love him a ton. He's always been there for me like a rock, no matter what crazy stuff I've gotten into or what decisions I've made. He's had my back through it all. Right now, he's pretty much the most important person in my world. When I mentioned before that I might not call him, I didn't mean I was cutting him off or anything like that. What I actually meant was that I'm not planning to lean on him every time I hit a rough patch. I've made up my mind to tackle things on my own, to figure stuff out by myself. It's not about not wanting to talk to him. It's about wanting to stand on my own 2 feet for a bit. For sure, keeping in touch with my brother is something I plan on doing no matter how things go. I've also noticed a few folks think I might have overreacted to the whole situation with my dad, but here's the deal. My dad was literally about to throw a punch at me. It was super intense, and if my brother hadn't been there to step in, I'm pretty sure things would have gone south really fast. That's why I knew I had to get out of there. And about the job thing, it's not like I was against the idea of working. I've actually been on the lookout for a job that fits with my schedule, especially one that makes sense for me. But with the whole virus situation messing things up, finding a job hasn't been easy. My dad knew all about my job hunt and how the virus was making it tough, but he still chose to make jokes about it. Not cool. Anyway, I really appreciate everyone who took the time to leave supportive comments, and even those who offered some tough love or critical points of view. It all helps me think through things and figure out my next steps. This morning I was going through some old messages and found a bunch from my ex-wife, Lisa. Just reading them brought back a flood of memories. I remember how she used to be so sweet, but man, did things change. Toward the end, she became really bitchy. She'd snap at me for the smallest things and always make me feel like I wasn't good enough. She'd say stuff like, "Why can't you be more like Jim?" Jim was her co-worker, and I later found out she was cheating on me with him. That hurt like hell. Anyway, dealing with Lisa's betrayal has given me some perspective on my family's crap. If I could get through her nonsense, I can get through this too. So, back to the family drama. After my big blow-up with Dad, I moved in with my buddy Mike. Mike's been a total rock for me. He's letting me stay as long as I need and has been super supportive. We're even talking about getting a place together once things settle down. Meanwhile, my mom, Angela, keeps calling. I finally picked up the phone today, and of course, she started with her guilt trip. "How could you leave us like that?" she said. "We're your family." I almost laughed. This is the same woman who always made me feel like an outsider. I told her I needed space and that I'd be staying with Mike for a while. She wasn't happy, but I didn't care. For once, I'm doing something for me. Angela's trying to act all concerned now, but where was that concern when I needed it growing up? She was always too busy doting on Danny. Every achievement of his was celebrated, while mine were barely acknowledged. I'm tired of feeling second best. It's time I start living my life on my terms. As for my dad, he hasn't reached out since our fight. Honestly, I'm relieved. I don't need his negativity right now. I've got enough on my plate trying to get my life together. I'm focusing on my studies and my new job. It's nothing glamorous, but it's a start, and it feels good to be working towards something. Lisa's betrayal taught me a lot about resilience. If I can survive that, I can survive anything. My family might not get it, but I'm determined to make a fresh start. I'll keep working hard, and maybe one day they'll see I'm not the screw-up they think I am. For now, I'm just taking it one day at a time, trying to find my footing in this crazy world. As the days rolled on, I started to find a bit of a rhythm at Mike's place. He's been a real lifesaver, making sure I have everything I need and even introducing me to some new friends. It's been refreshing being around people who don't constantly compare me to someone else. One of Mike's friends, Jake, even hooked me up with a side gig helping out at his auto shop. It's not exactly what I went to school for, but it's honest work and it's helping me save up for my own place. Lisa tried reaching out a few times too. Can you believe the nerve? After all the crap she put me through with Jim, she had the audacity to call me up and act like she was the victim. She said things like, "You never appreciated me, and Jim understands me better." I just laughed it off. It was the same old manipulation tactics she always used. I told her flat out that I wasn't interested in her drama anymore and hung up. Felt good to finally stand up for myself. Angela, my mom, hasn't stopped with her guilt trips either. She's been sending these long texts about how family is supposed to stick together and how I'm tearing us apart. I don't even bother reading them all the way through anymore. It's always the same song and dance. She never once acknowledges her own role in making me feel like an outsider. It's all about how I've disappointed her. Typical. Danny, on the other hand, has been surprisingly supportive. He dropped by Mike's place last weekend to check on me. We had a long talk about everything that's been going on. Turns out he never really bought into all the hype about him being the golden child. He admitted that it made him uncomfortable and that he wished our parents had treated us equally. It was the first real heart-to-heart we've had in years. He even offered to help me out financially until I get back on my feet. But I declined. I need to do this on my own. Living with Mike has its perks. We've started working out together, and I've taken up jogging in the mornings. It's been a great way to clear my head and stay focused. Plus, it's nice to have a routine that doesn't involve tiptoeing around family expectations or dealing with Lisa's nonsense. I'm starting to feel like myself again, slowly but surely. I've also been spending a lot of time thinking about what I want for my future. For the first time, I'm setting goals for myself that aren't influenced by my family or anyone else. It's liberating. I've decided to switch majors to something I'm actually passionate about. It might mean a bit more time in school, but I'm okay with that. It's my life, and I'm going to live it my way. The biggest lesson I've learned through all this is that I don't need anyone's approval to be happy. Not Lisa's, not Angela's, not anyone's. I'm carving out my own path, and it feels damn good. There's still a long road ahead, but for the first time in a while, I'm excited about where it might lead. I've got to say, it's been one heck of a journey, but I finally feel like I've turned a corner. Living with Mike has been a godsend, and the side gig at Jake's auto shop has kept me busy and grounded. Plus, I'm starting to enjoy working with my hands. There's something satisfying about fixing up cars that I never expected. Lisa's last stunt was trying to show up at Mike's place unannounced. Can you believe that? She actually thought she could waltz back into my life like nothing happened. When she showed up at the door, I didn't even let her in. I told her straight to her face that she lost any right to be part of my life the moment she cheated on me with Jim. She threw a fit, saying I was being unreasonable and that we could work things out. But I just laughed and shut the door in her face. There's no way I'm letting her toxicity back in. Angela, my mom, has finally backed off a bit. Maybe she realized her guilt trips weren't working anymore. Or maybe Danny talked some sense into her. Either way, the constant barrage of texts has slowed down. I still get the occasional "we miss you" message, but they're easier to ignore now. I've come to terms with the fact that she'll probably never change. And that's okay. I'm not living my life for her approval anymore. Danny and I have grown closer through all this. He's been a real rock, showing up when I needed him the most. We've even started hanging out more, grabbing beers and talking about life. It's like we're finally brothers in the real sense, not just by blood. He respects my decision to do things on my own, but has made it clear he's always there if I need him. That means the world to me. I've also taken some big steps towards my future. I officially switched majors to something I'm passionate about and have started taking the necessary courses. It's a bit daunting, but it feels right. I'm also saving up to get my own place. It's slow going, but with the job at Jake's shop and a bit of freelance work on the side, I'm making progress. The best part? I've started dating again. There's this amazing girl named Emma I met through Mike. She's kind, funny, and understands where I'm coming from. We've been taking things slow, but it's refreshing to be with someone who respects me and doesn't come with a load of drama. It's early days, but I'm hopeful. Looking back, it's clear how far I've come. From dealing with Lisa's betrayal to standing up to my parents, I've grown stronger and more independent. I've learned that my worth isn't tied to anyone else's opinion, and I have the power to shape my own destiny. It's a lesson that took a lot of pain to learn, but I'm grateful for it. So, here's to new beginnings and a brighter future. I've still got challenges ahead, but I'm ready to face them head on. For the first time in a long time, I'm optimistic about what's next. Thanks for sticking with me through this journey. It's been tough, but sharing it with you all has made it a bit easier. Here's to carving out a life that's truly my own.